Hello, everyone. I'm Mark.
But I'm Rob.
And today we're going to talk about whether or not respect from the league to Caitlin Clark has finally turned the corner and maybe they're going to lighten up on her a little bit in terms of how they treat her. Welcome to Mark and Rob's Sports Showdown. Guess what, Rob? We need more subscribers. So please hit that notification bell when you do so you get notified of our next videos. So, Rob, we won't go over it, but we all know that she's got a chilly reception from the league so far this year. And, lately it seems to have lightened up a little bit. I mean, first it came up to light that she doesn't even get advice from vets. The question basically was asked was what was the best advice that she's got from a vet in a game? She didn't even say opponent or teammates in the question. Caitlin Clark just says, nobody gives me advice, I wish. Now, that's kind of weird that she's got veterans on her team that don't give her advice during the game. But actually, she has a much higher IQ than the rest of them in the game. And I can see that why a veteran from another team wouldn't give her advice during the game because right at that moment they're competing.
Right.
So, but she is friends with Sabrina Ionescu and Kelsey Plum, and maybe they've given her advice not during the game that she was not talking about referring to. Right. But either way, there seems to be a little bit of a change. Like when they went to play the Phoenix Mercury, Diana Taurasi, instead of just slapping her hand, actually gave her a hug. And then Brittany Griner actually instigated the hug and a whisper in the air, and Caitlin Clark smiled afterwards. So she must have said something nice or encouraging. And then after the game, Diana Taurasi was very complimentary on her and said basically what she's done so far in the league is remarkable. And then against the Las Vegas Aces, Caitlin Clark was driving to the basket and fell down. I think her shoelace got loose. She went to tie it, and Jackie Young immediately went down to the ground, loosened up her shoelace and started tying it. And then she tapped her on Caitlin Clark, I don't know, on the leg or something like that, and said, like, are you ready? Are you okay? And she said, yeah. And then so that was obviously on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure the other day until I saw the replay where she taps her. So that was obvious. That was very nice of her. Do you think anyone would have done that in game one of this year?
No. So
no way.
Yeah. So I believe it is coming around, Mark. I think people are finally realize the players are starting to realize, hey, she's going to be a great ball player. They're realizing that, and then also she's a nice person. There's nothing to really hate about her. So why would you have any kind of grudge or hate, which is a strong word, against somebody who's done nothing to you personally?
Right. And there was another play at the end of the game. Kelsey Plum in the same game went to hug Clark, and Clark wasn't ready for it. She stepped away like she didn't know what was coming, and then they ended up hugging. I don't think she realized there was 10 seconds left. The game wasn't over. She didn't know what was going on. But I think that was happened. But that was nice of Kelsey Plum. But like I said, they're on a friendly basis. But maybe things are turning around. There's been no cheap shots lately. The physicality's been a little bit less. So maybe things are changing. Maybe they're realizing, okay, like we talked about this with Tiger Woods, that the white players, are really all the golfers, because they're almost all white, objected to all the attention he was getting because he was a phenom and young at that. Mm-hmm. And then after they saw how much money they were making, they started to accept it more often. And they saw, he doesn't have the warmest personality, but he's a nice guy generally. At least he comes across that way somewhat. Mm-hmm. Anyways, maybe they just said, even if he isn't a nice person, he wasn't abrasive, and they said, "Oh, okay, we're all making money."
Right. Well, that's the bottom line. And I know you're playing the game because you like it, but also the bottom line is money. During the game, I saw a commercial with four of them in a car, and they're discussing about how to buy a car, and I thought it was a pretty funny commercial. And I was like, "Oh wow, see, they've never had this type of commercial. I've never seen it, and now they're getting this type of commercial."
We get them being jealous and being envious, but at some point, why do you got to turn all that into hate? And at some point, can't you just lighten up a little bit? And no one's saying they shouldn't guard her closely. She's obviously a point guard, so you got to guard a point guard closer. But she's obviously a very talented point guard, and I maintain that she's the best passer in the history of women's basketball. So there's no way you can lighten up on her in terms of covering her. But they seem to. She's been more double teamed and triple teamed than anyone in the league, according to people that have followed the league. And maybe she's been covered more closely than anyone in history, especially a rookie, according to Rebecca Lobo and Nancy Lieberman. So why is that? Especially since she's just average and overrated.
Well, I think it's finally coming down to respect, Mark. Now after these games, they've seen her play, and they see how she handles herself, despite being abused mentally and physically for no reason. So she could have folded up and taken a hike and been like, cry, poor me, but she just keeps on going. And after a while, you kind of admire somebody like, wow, that's pretty good. She's gone through all this. She's been abused. Yeah, she has been abused. And so after a while, you're like, whoa, she's pretty cool. And then when you meet her and talk and see her, and the way she plays very competitively, you gotta be like, hey, this is cool.
And Rob, here's a quote from Diana Taurasi that, I mentioned the fact that she said nothing short of remarkable. She said, the one thing that I really love about her, she loves the game. You can tell she puts the work in. Even throughout her WNBA career, it's been a lot of pressure, a lot of things thrown at her. She keeps showing up, keeps getting better every single game. And I think the players really respect that about her, that they're knocking her down and she keeps getting back up and she's improving. And every time she takes the high road. And after a while, unless you're not mean, you have to soften up a little bit in your attitude towards someone, no matter how upset you are that she gets a lot of publicity and is making a lot of money.
Right. Because it's like it's going to trickle down to you. Like I said, it's going to trickle down to you also, not just her, because people are watching the WNBA because of her. And then they're exposing you who've never been exposed. So now they can see you. Like I said, I've seen some games. I'm going, whoa, who's this player? Well, she's pretty good. I didn't know she could. I didn't know this player was pretty good. So they're all getting exposure from this. So yeah, it's a happening. It's a happening. Jump on the bandwagon. It's a happening.
Right, and as Clark continues to play better, especially her passing, I think they get more respect for her in that way. They go, okay, she's a force to be reckoned with. Maybe she is as good as some of the people think she is. And as they play her second time and a third time and stuff like that. Well, that's my thought on the subject. I hope it's turned the corner. We're not asking them not to guard her closely or anything like that, but it'd be nice if the physicality, anytime she drives towards the basket, she didn't get hit in the head.
Well, it's weird because we're talking about respect. Obviously, there's respect for her when you're putting your best player on her to guard her, and then you're double teaming her. There's respect right there.
Right. So let's see if the respect on the court, where maybe the people are a little friendly to her before and after the game, maybe the comments about her, because people think about it. That was the first time that someone really said something nice about how she's played in the league so far was Diana Taurasi. That's like the first time. You would think right away they'd, after she had a great game or something, people would say something, but none of them said anything.
Mark, you mean people I'm sorry, Mark, you mean people like her coach would say something like that?
Yeah, that's for another video. I'm talking about the other 143 players, especially the ones on the other team, how they're treating her. But the players are treating her better also, if you think about it. Yeah. You saw when she got knocked down against Carter, no one came to her aid. No one got in Carter's face. And then the whole media and NBA players called their teammates out. And then you saw Wallace came over and got in the person's face after a foul and a hook and a grab that was taking place. So things are, and they also, like, 3 people helped her up when she got knocked down from Angel Reese. So things did start to change in that sense from her teammates. I don't think some of her teammates like her because they're jealous of her, like Mitchell, but they're softening up too. So I hope it turns the corner, and I hope people aren't afraid to say that she's playing well just because they think she's overrated to begin with, or because she gets so much publicity and makes so much money. You got to be objective about when you're talking about how well a person is playing. And I think Diana Taurasi finally said something. And since she's the elder statesman of the league, maybe that opens up a floodgate and people aren't going to be afraid to say she's playing well, or even, to acknowledge that she's a good player and that she's a good person. Because as we said, she's been is complimentary to all the other players in the league and all the other players in the NBA that's played throughout history. She's always said things in reference, to how great they are.
Right. Exactly.
So anyways, that's our take. Let us know if you think the league is lightening up on her. And I'm sure you're going to think that's a good thing, but let us know your feelings about that.
Yeah.
And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit that notification bell when you do, because you get notified of our next videos. And also, if you like this video, hit like and feel free to make, intelligent, non-insulting comments. And we have a live show. It's now 6 to 8 Eastern time, 2 hours now, and except for major holidays. And we won't have it during the Olympic weeks because we're going to have live Olympic shows from 2 to 5 Eastern, because that's going to be prime time in Paris, and that's when the marquee events are. And we're going to cover the Indiana Fever games shows live. We'll try to do all of them. Well, it'll be on the website. And we're going to do this one on 1 o'clock. They're going to play the New York Liberty on Saturday, July 6th. That'll be our first one. And feel free to join us for that. All right, Rob, and we'll see you in the next video.
All right. Peace out.